to clarify my last question, if you said atheists can't trust their cognitive faculties, they can't understand complex theories like naturalism. That's from the earlier question about your video on Richard Dawkins.
Okay. Yeah, well, the idea is not, it's not the theory that's the problem. And it's not even, I'm not even talking about whether naturalism is a complex theory. The point is your brain was not made, your brain just wasn't made to understand things like the origin of the universe or something like that. It's
you
not,
see,
it's
he
not
said your brain
made.
wasn't made.
It wasn't made for those kinds of things if naturalism is true. So anyways, so just to, I mean, just use Darwin's example, which I quoted in the video. When Darwin said someone sent him a book on design and nature, and Darwin said, I agree completely. This doesn't look like chance. It doesn't look like chance. He says, but with me, the horrid doubt always arises whether a man's conviction, the convictions of my mind, are of any value. More so, would we trust the convictions of a monkey's mind? In other words, you say, okay, we have cognitive faculties. We got them because they helped our ancestors survive and reproduce. Guess what? That's the same way a monkey got its cognitive faculties. It's the same way a rat got its cognitive faculties. We have more developed cognitive faculties, but the mental abilities that a rat has, it got them by the same process that we got ours, right? So you say we're smarter, we have an advantage, we learned better. But how do you get to the idea that we can therefore trust those faculties, trust our cognitive faculties with questions of ethics, objective morality, the origin of the universe or where the universe is headed? You don't get that. And you even saw Dawkins using this. You can't trust your cognitive faculties when you're talking about things like the origin of the universe. We weren't made. What did he say? He said, we got our cognitive faculties because they helped us on the African plain. That's where we got them. They helped us survive and reproduce. So you can't, it's when you talk about naturalism is a claim that the natural world is all that exists. Okay. Why would you trust your cognitive faculties to give you the truth about a statement like that? Right? The natural world is all that exists. So there's nothing beyond that. How in the name of common sense could you take your brain seriously when it tells you that, when you're basically a more advanced primate? You know, you're a more advanced primate than other primates. So that's the problem. And really the real takeaway, ladies and gentlemen, is when naturalists, people who say that they're naturalists, when naturalists take their cognitive faculties extremely seriously and believe in all these moral laws, moral obligations. They might say they don't, but then they turn around, they start judging everyone according to these moral values that they take extremely seriously. And when they trust in mathematics and when they trust in science and they trust their brains to be figuring out the entire universe, it's almost like deep down you don't really take your own worldview that seriously. You don't take your worldview as seriously as you do. You think, in other words, you deep down, you apparently believe that you are something much more than your worldview says you are. And that's kind of the real takeaway. So guess what? It's like, hey, atheist, I agree with you. This is right. That's wrong. This is better than that thing. I agree with you. We are meant to discover the universe and do science and figure out the origin. I agree with you on all of that. It just makes zero sense on your worldview, and it makes perfect sense on mine. So it's almost like deep down you really believe something other than what you're saying you believe. So that's kind of the real takeaway.